So several of us in the Senate in both political parties are sponsoring this legislation to ensure that survivors of sexual assault and victims of sexual harassment in the workplace get their day in court. And I am pushing for a vote on this legislation as soon as possible, because Georgians and all Americans who survive sexual assault or are targeted with sexual harassment in the workplace deserve to be able to bring their claim to a court and seek a remedy in court.
Of course, and the arbitration process that you mentioned in the bill, what is that process for these victims? And is it very common?
It's very common. So many employees, perhaps without even fully recognizing it, sign away their right to a trial when they enter into a contract with their employer. And so this legislation that I'm championing will ensure that where employees are survivors of sexual assault or victims of sexual harassment in the workplace, that they get their day in court. It will invalidate those abusive provisions of these contracts that are preventing too many Americans who experience sexual assault or sexual harassment from pursuing their case in an open court.
So this bill, how will this bill, fix that arbitration issue? You're saying that people will now be able to take that to court, correct?
Yeah, this legislation will invalidate those provisions where they prevent employees from going to court where they have experienced sexual assault or sexual harassment in the workplace. This is really about the rights of American workers and employees to pursue in court a case where they've been targeted by sexual harassment or they've survived sexual assault in the workplace. Every single American who experiences sexual assault or sexual harassment at work should have the chance to bring a lawsuit in court and not be silenced by these abusive provisions of contracts. And that's what this bill is meant to fix.
And Senator Ossoff, for people who might not know, where does the bill stand now? What are you guys trying to do with it at the moment?
There's a bipartisan group of us who are pushing this legislation forward. And I'm really championing this because Georgians need to know that they'll be able to bring their claims to court and pursue anyone who harasses or assails them sexually in the workplace without being silenced by these contractual provisions. And I'm pushing to get a vote on the floor of the Senate as soon as possible.
Okay, and I know that it might be hard, is there a number of how many cases that, these sexual assault cases happen in the workplace? Do you have like a number in Georgia of how much that's happening?
Well, it's all too common, and my team can follow up with you to try to get you some specific numbers. But the bottom line is that this is simple, it's bipartisan, and it's common sense. Georgians, Americans who survive sexual assault or are targeted with sexual harassment in the workplace deserve their day in court. And that's why we're putting forward this legislation.
And just one more question, Senator, what made you want to, sponsor this bill? When you saw it, what made you want to support it and help it move forward?
This is a simple matter of justice. And any American who experiences assault or harassment at the workplace should be able to bring their claim in a court of law and pursue the damages or the remedy that they're seeking without being forced into these secretive arbitration processes.